Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're over 50 and 60, you care about keeping your heart healthy, and I know you do, then today's video is one you absolutely cannot miss. Here's something that might shock you. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans, responsible for about 1 in every 5 deaths. And what's even more alarming is that many of the foods quietly damaging your heart are foods most of us eat every single day. Foods we actually think are fine. Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 specific foods that science has linked to serious heart damage, especially for people over 50. We're not guessing here. We're talking real research, real studies, and real risk that you need to know about. So grab a coffee, get comfortable, and let's get into it. And please, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. This kind of information could literally save your life. First, let me quickly explain why the 50-plus age group is so much more at risk. As we age, several things happen to our cardiovascular system. Our arteries naturally become stiffer. Our heart muscle doesn't bounce back as quickly. And our metabolism slows down, making it easier for harmful fats and plaques to build up in our blood vessels. A landmark study published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology found that cardiovascular risk increases significantly after age 50, largely because of the cumulative effect of diet and lifestyle choices over decades. In other words, the damage doesn't happen overnight. It builds up quietly, year after year, and a lot of it comes directly from what we eat. So let's talk about the foods that are making things worse. Food number 1, processed meats. This one is probably the biggest offender that most people don't take seriously enough. We're talking about processed meats. Things like bacon, hot dogs, deli turkey, salami, sausage, and pepperoni. These are staples in millions of American households, and they are doing serious damage to your heart. Here's the science. A major study published in the British Medical Journal, which followed over 1.6 million people, found that eating just 50 grams of processed meat per day, that's roughly 2 slices of deli meat, was associated with a 42% higher risk of heart disease. Why? Because processed meats are loaded with sodium and nitrates. Excess sodium raises your blood pressure, which strains your heart and arteries. Nitrates, the preservatives used to keep these meats looking pink and fresh, have been shown to damage the lining of blood vessels, promoting atherosclerosis. That's the hardening and narrowing of the arteries. After 50, your kidneys are less efficient at processing excess sodium, and your arteries are already less flexible. That combination makes processed meats even more dangerous for you than for a 30-year-old. What to do instead? Choose fresh, unprocessed lean proteins like grilled chicken breast, fish, or legumes. If you love a sandwich, try fresh sliced turkey you cook yourself at home. Food number 2, sugary drinks. Let's talk about what you're drinking, because your beverages could be quietly wrecking your heart. Sodas, sweet tea, fruit juices, sports drinks, and flavored coffees are all packed with added sugars. And the research on this is very clear. A study published in JAMA Internal Medicine followed over 31,000 Americans and found that people who got 17 to 21% of their daily calories from added sugar had a 38% higher risk of dying from cardiovascular disease compared to those who consumed less than 8%. That is a massive difference. Here's what happens in your body. When you consume high amounts of sugar, your liver converts the excess into triglycerides, a type of fat that enters your bloodstream. High triglycerides directly contribute to plaque buildup in the arteries. Sugar also triggers inflammation, which is one of the root causes of heart disease. And for people over 50, there's an added problem. Insulin sensitivity naturally decreases with age. So the same amount of sugar that your body once handled easily can now cause blood sugar spikes that put enormous stress on your cardiovascular system. Even fruit juice, which sounds healthy, can be a problem. A cup of apple juice can have as much sugar as a can of soda, with very little of the fiber that would slow down that sugar absorption in whole fruit. What to do instead? Make food number 3, trans fats and partially hydrogenated oils. Now, you might have heard that the FDA banned trans fats back in 2018. And while that's true for most products, here's what most people don't know. Under current FDA labeling rules, a product can still legally claim 0 grams of trans fat if it contains less than zero point 0.5 grams per serving. Sounds fine, right? But if you eat 2, 3, or 4 servings, which is easy to do, those partial amounts add up fast. Trans fats are found in many packaged crackers, microwave popcorn, non-dairy coffee creamers, frozen pies, and some fast food items. Check the ingredient list for the words partially hydrogenated oil. That is trans fat, even if the nutrition label says 0. The science is damning. Research published in the New England Journal of Medicine found that trans fat consumption dramatically raises LDL cholesterol. That's the bad kind, while simultaneously lowering HDL cholesterol, which is the good kind. This double effect makes trans fats uniquely dangerous. It's the worst dietary fat you can consume for heart health. For people over 50, cholesterol management becomes increasingly important because the arteries are already less elastic. Any increase in LDL speeds up the process of plaque formation that can lead to heart attacks and strokes. What to do instead? Read every label. Avoid anything with partially hydrogenated in the ingredients. Cook with heart-healthy oils like extra virgin olive oil, which has been extensively studied for its cardiovascular benefits. Food number 4. Refined carbohydrates and white bread. This one surprises a lot of people because bread and rice seem so harmless. But refined carbohydrates are a real problem for your heart, especially after 50. We're talking about white bread, white rice, white pasta, bagels, pastries, most breakfast cereals, and crackers made with refined flour. These foods have been stripped of their fiber and nutrients during processing, which means they digest rapidly and cause sharp spikes in blood sugar. A study from Harvard's School of Public Health that followed over 75,000 women found that those with the highest intake of refined carbohydrates had nearly double the risk of heart disease compared to women who ate mostly whole grains. That research was published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Here's the mechanism. When refined carbs spike your blood sugar, your pancreas releases a surge of insulin. Over time, repeated insulin spikes contribute to insulin resistance, inflammation, and high triglycerides, all major risk factors for heart disease. Refined carbs also contribute to weight gain around the belly, which is specifically linked to increased cardiovascular risk. For Americans over 50, this is especially significant. The American Heart Association estimates that about 60% of adults over 50 have some degree of insulin resistance, often without knowing it. Food number 5. Excess alcohol. Now this one is a little more nuanced because you've probably heard that a glass of red wine is good for your heart. Let's separate fact from fiction. For years, moderate red wine consumption was associated with heart health benefits, partly due to a compound called resveratrol. But more recent and rigorous research is changing that picture significantly. A large-scale study published in The Lancet, which analyzed data from 195 countries and 28 million people, concluded that the safest level of alcohol consumption for overall health is 0. The small cardiovascular benefits once associated with moderate drinking were found to be outweighed by increased risks of cancer, liver disease, and other conditions. And for people over 50, alcohol poses specific cardiovascular risks. Excess alcohol raises blood pressure and can trigger atrial fibrillation, an irregular heart rhythm that significantly increases stroke risk. The American Heart Association notes that heavy drinking, defined as more than 14 drinks per week for men or 7 for women, is directly linked to a weakened heart muscle, a condition called alcoholic cardiomyopathy. As we age, our liver also becomes less efficient at metabolizing alcohol, meaning the same amount of alcohol hits harder and stays in your system longer. Many common medications taken by people over 50, including blood pressure drugs and statins, also interact dangerously with alcohol. What to do instead? If you drink, keep it truly moderate. 1 drink or less per day. Better yet, try sparkling water with a splash of cranberry juice or kombucha, which gives you something festive and interesting without the cardiovascular risk. Bonus: the biggest hidden culprit. Salt. Before we wrap up, I want to give you a quick bonus warning. Excess sodium is hiding in foods most people never suspect. Canned soups, condiments, bread, breakfast cereals, and restaurant meals. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day, but the average American consumes over 3,400 milligrams daily. High sodium intake is one of the leading causes of high blood pressure, which is the single biggest risk factor for heart attack and stroke. After 50, your kidneys are less effective at excreting sodium, so the effect on blood pressure is even stronger. Quick fix. Get in the habit of reading sodium on food labels. Aim for products with less than 400 milligrams per serving and cook at home more often where you control the salt. Alright, so let's do a quick recap. The 5 foods that are secretly damaging your heart after 50 are 1. Processed meats, packed with sodium and artery-damaging nitrates. 2. Sugary drinks, driving up triglycerides and inflammation. 3. Trans fats and partially hydrogenated oils, raising bad cholesterol while lowering the good for refined carbohydrates, spiking blood sugar and fueling insulin resistance. 5. Excess alcohol, raising blood pressure and risking heart rhythm problems. Now, here's the most important thing I want you to take away from today's video. You don't need to be perfect. Small, consistent changes to your diet can have a massive impact on your heart health over time. You don't have to give everything up overnight. Start by cutting back on just 1 or 2 of these foods this week. If this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It helps us reach more people who need this information. And drop a comment below and let me know. Which of these foods surprised you the most? We post new videos every week on health and wellness specifically for people over 50, so make sure you're subscribed and have the bell notification turned on so you never miss an episode. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care of that heart. You're going to need it for a long, long time.